The week before the wedding passed in a blur of preparation, culture clash, and surprising moments of joy. Rahab's parents arrived on Thursday and watching her father, a dignified professor of economics, and her mother, a formidable lawyer who'd argued cases before Nigeria's Supreme Court, interact with Minjun was both terrifying and hilarious. "So, Mr. Kong," her father said over dinner at a high-end Korean restaurant, "Rahab tells us you're in import-export?" Minjun didn't miss a beat. "Among other business ventures, yes sir. Real estate primarily, and I'm transitioning more toward legitimate enterprises." Her mother's sharp eyes missed nothing. "Transitioning implies you started somewhere less legitimate." "Mama," Rahab began, but Minjun touched her hand gently. "Your daughter deserves honesty, and so do you," he said, meeting her mother's gaze steadily. "My family's business has historically operated in gray areas, but I love Rahab more than I love that world. I'm building something cleaner, something better, for her, for any children we might have." The mention of potential grandchildren visibly softened her mother's expression, though she maintained her stern demeanor. "And you can keep her safe? From whatever enemies you've made in these gray areas." "With my life, ma'am." "Words are easy, young man. Then I'll prove it with actions. Every day, for the rest of my life." Her father had been watching this exchange with the analytical eye of someone used to evaluating risk. "Rahab seems happy. Happier than I've seen her in years. That counts for something." "Papa." Rahab felt her eyes water. "But," he continued, turning to Minjun, "if you hurt my daughter, there is no place on this earth you can hide. Am I understood?" "Completely, sir." Later, after her parents had retired to their hotel suite, Rahab and Minjun walked along the Han River. The night was cool, the city lights reflecting off the water like scattered diamonds. "They're terrifying," Minjun said, but he was smiling. "Your mother could negotiate treaties. Your father sees right through everything. They're protective. I'm their only child. As they should be." He pulled her close. "I meant what I said, you know, about proving myself every day." "I know." She leaned into him. "This is really happening, isn't it? Having second thoughts? Third, fourth, and fifth thoughts. But I keep coming back to yes." The wedding preparations had taken on a life of their own. Minjun's people had secured a luxury hotel for the ceremony, large enough to accommodate both the traditional Korean ceremony and the Nigerian reception that would follow. Rahab's mother had flown in Ankara fabric for the reception dress, vibrant patterns in gold and blue. The Korean hanbok had been custom-made in deep burgundy and gold, traditional but stunning. "You're going to be the most beautiful bride Seoul has ever seen," Yuki said while helping Rahab with a final dress fitting. Her friend had been shocked when Rahab finally revealed the truth about Minjun. Edited version, naturally, but had rallied with characteristic enthusiasm. "I still can't believe you're getting married," Yuki continued, adjusting the hanbok's geoggery. "6 weeks ago you were Miss I Don't Do Commitment, and now you're having a full traditional wedding. Life comes at you fast," Rahab murmured, studying herself in the mirror. She barely recognized the woman staring back. Nervous, excited, terrified, hopeful. "Are you sure about this?" Yuki asked quietly, seriously. "It's not too late to back out if you're having doubts." "I'm sure about him," Rahab replied. "Everything else? We'll figure it out as we go." But doubt crept in at odd moments. Late at night when she couldn't sleep. During conference calls at work when her boss congratulated her and she felt like a fraud. When she passed happy couples in the street and wondered if they had secret complications too, or if simple love was possible for anyone. 2 days before the wedding, the doubt materialized into something concrete. Rahab was leaving work when a car pulled up beside her. Sleek, black, threatening. The window rolled down, revealing Lee Seo-yeon. "Get in," the woman said. "We need to talk." Every instinct screamed no. But curiosity, that same curiosity that had led her to Minjun in the first place, won out. She slid into the back seat. Seo-yeon didn't drive off, just sat there, studying Rahab with cold calculation. "You're actually going through with it. Was there doubt? I thought you were smarter than this." Seo-yeon's voice was harsh. "You think marrying him will keep you safe? It'll make you a bigger target. Every enemy he's made, every rival who wants his territory. They'll all see you as leverage. Minjun will protect me. Minjun is one man. A powerful man, yes, but still just one man. She leaned forward. Do you know how his father died? Rahab? In a car accident. He was assassinated. Bomb under his vehicle. His wife, Minjun's mother, was with him. She survived but spent 3 years in a coma before dying. Minjun was 17 when he took over, fueled by rage and grief. He's built an empire on violence and fear. And you think love will change that? Rahab felt cold. Minjun had mentioned his father's death, but not the details. Not his mother's suffering. Why are you telling me this? Because I don't want to see another woman destroyed by Kang Minjun. Seo Yun's mask slipped, showing genuine pain beneath. I loved him, really loved him. And he used me, used my family's connections, then discarded me when I was no longer useful. You think you're different? You're just another piece on his chessboard. That's not true, isn't it? Think about it, Rahab. He met you right when he needed to soften his image, right when he was trying to go legitimate. A relationship with a foreign professional, someone outside the underworld. That's good optics. And now a wedding, very public, very traditional. That's rebranding. The words hit like physical blows because they played into every fear Rahab had been suppressing. What if she was just convenient? What if this was all strategy? I see I've given you something to think about, Seo Yun said, satisfaction in her voice. Here's my final offer. Walk away now, and I'll make sure you're protected. New identity, new life, anywhere you want. Or go through with this wedding and accept whatever consequences come. Why would you protect me? Because Minjun loves you. Seo Yun's laugh was bitter. He never loved me, but he loves you. And the best revenge? Watching him lose the one thing he actually cares about. Either you leave and he's destroyed, or you stay and eventually his world destroys you and he watches it happen. Either way, he suffers. You're cruel. I'm honest. There's a difference. Seo Yun opened the car door. 2 days, Rahab. Think carefully about what you really want. Rahab stumbled out of the car, watching it drive away with her heart pounding. She stood on the Seoul Street, surrounded by the evening rush of people heading home to normal lives, and felt utterly alone. She went to the penthouse, needing to see Minjun, needing answers. He was in his office on the phone, but ended the call when he saw her face. What happened? She told him everything. The encounter? Seo Yun's words, her doubts. He listened without interrupting, his expression growing darker with each sentence. When she finished, he was silent for a long moment. She's right about some things, he finally said. My father was assassinated. My mother suffered. I did build this empire on violence. And marrying me does make you a target. Minjun. But she's wrong about why I'm marrying you. He crossed to her, taking her hands. You're not optics or strategy or convenience. You're the first real thing I've had in a life full of lies. If you were just useful to me, I would have found a dozen easier ways to rebrand. Marrying you makes everything more complicated, not less. How do I know that's true? You can't. Not with absolute certainty. His honesty was brutal but appreciated. That's what faith is, Rahab. Trusting despite uncertainty. I have faith in you. Faith that you see who I really am, not just what I've done. Can you have faith in me? She studied his face. The man she'd come to love despite all reason. The man who'd shown her his community center and his scars and his vulnerability. The man who'd met her parents with respect and admitted his flaws without excuse. Tell me about your mother, she said quietly. He flinched but didn't pull away. She was kind. Too kind for my father's world. She used to take me to temples, teach me about compassion and balance. After the bombing, I visited her every day in that hospital. Talked to her, read to her, begged her to wake up. When she finally died, I was 20. I'd been running the organization for 3 years, making decisions she would have hated. I couldn't even grieve properly because showing weakness would have gotten me killed. Tears tracked down his face, and Rahab realized this might be the first time he'd fully mourned. I don't want that life for our children, he continued. I don't want them growing up surrounded by violence, learning to trust no one, becoming hard before they've had a chance to be soft. That's why I'm going legitimate. Not for optics. For them. For you. For the life I never got to have. Rahab pulled him close, and they held each other in the office where he'd made terrible decisions and brilliant strategies in equal measure. I'm scared, she whispered. So am I. But I choose you. I choose us. I choose faith. He pulled back, cupping her face, his thumbs wiping away her tears. I will spend every day earning that faith. I promise you. What about Seo-yun? I'll handle her. After the wedding, when you're officially protected by every code and tradition we have. She's crossed too many lines, threatened what's mine. There will be consequences. Don't kill her, Rahab said urgently. Please. I don't want our marriage starting with blood. He hesitated, and she saw him wrestle with instincts honed over years of survival. Finally, he nodded. No killing, but she can't keep threatening you. I'll find another way to neutralize the danger. Thank you. They spent that night talking, really talking. He told her stories about his parents, his childhood, the weight of inheriting an empire he never wanted. She told him about Nigeria, about feeling caught between cultures, about the pressure to be perfect that had driven her halfway around the world. By the time dawn broke, they'd stripped away the last remaining walls between them. 2 days later, Rahab Okonkwo stood in a hotel suite, wearing a burgundy hanbok embroidered with gold thread, her locks styled in an elegant updo woven with golden pins. Her hands trembled as her mother adjusted the jaggery one final time. You look like a queen, her mother said softly. My beautiful daughter. I'm terrified, Mama. All brides are terrified. That's how you know it matters. Her mother squeezed her hands. But I see how he looks at you, Rahab, like you hung the moon and stars. That's rare. Don't let fear steal it from you. The ceremony was a beautiful fusion of traditions. The traditional Korean paibik with bows to his family. The Nigerian blessing ceremony with her parents. Vows spoken in English, Korean, and Igbo. When Minjun slid the ring onto her finger, his hands were shaking too. I'm yours, he whispered as they faced each other. Completely. Forever. I'm yours, she echoed. Even when it's scary. Even when it's hard. The reception was a celebration that bridged worlds. Korean dishes and Nigerian jollof rice. Traditional dances from both cultures. Guests in both hanbok and ankara. Minjun's people mingled with her parents' friends. For one night, it felt like peace was possible. But as Rahab danced with her new husband, she saw Seo-yun standing at the edge of the celebration. Their eyes met across the room. Seo-yun raised her glass in a mocking toast, then disappeared into the crowd. The message was clear. This wasn't over. Rahab tightened her grip on Minjun's hand. Whatever came next, they'd face it together. That would have to be enough. They flew to Jeju Island for a brief honeymoon. Minjun couldn't be away from so long, but he insisted on giving Rahab 3 days of paradise. The resort was exclusive, perched on cliffs overlooking the ocean, with private villas that promised seclusion. For 48 hours, it was perfect. They woke up late, made love with the ocean breeze drifting through open windows, ate breakfast on their terrace overlooking volcanic rocks and turquoise water. They explored the island hand in hand. Lava tubes and waterfalls, tea plantations and beaches with black sand that sparkled in the sunlight. I could stay here forever, Rahab said as they watched sunset paint the sky in impossible colors. They were at Songsan Ilchulbong, the sunrise peak, though they'd come for sunset instead. So could I. Minjun pulled her close. When things settle, when the business is fully legitimate, maybe we take a real honeymoon. Months, not days. Anywhere you want. Nigeria, she said immediately. I want you to see where I came from. Meet my extended family. Eat proper Nigerian food. Not Seoul fusion versions. I'd like that. He kissed her temple. Experiencing your world properly. Understanding all the parts that made you. They talked about the future, tentative, hopeful plans. Children eventually. A house outside the city with a garden. Her pursuing a graduate degree. Him building legitimate businesses that would make his mother proud. Felt real. Felt possible. The call came on the morning of day 3. Minjun's phone rang at 4 a.m., jarring them from sleep. He answered, listened, and went completely still. When? His voice was ice. How bad? Everyone out. I'm coming back now. He ended the call and was out of bed immediately, pulling on clothes with practiced efficiency. What happened? Rahab asked, fear clawing at her throat. The community center. Fire. Everyone got out safely, but the building's destroyed. The one you fund? The one with the children? Yes. His face was granite, but his hands shook with rage. This wasn't an accident, Rahab. This was a message. Seo Yun. Most likely, or someone emboldened by her example. He turned to her, and the expression in his eyes was terrifying. Cold, calculating, violent. I have to go. Stay here where it's safe. I'll send security. No. She was already getting dressed. I'm your wife. I'm coming with you. Rahab. Those kids matter to you, which means they matter to me. I'm coming. He wanted to argue. She could see it, but something in her expression made him nod. Stay close to me. Don't leave my side for a second. They flew back on Minjun's private plane, arriving in Seoul as dawn broke gray and cold. The community center was in ruins. Walls blackened, roof collapsed, the playground equipment melted into twisted sculptures. Ji-ho, the teenager who'd called Minjun uncle, stood with his mother and younger siblings, staring at the destruction. When he saw Minjun, he ran to him. They were so scared, the boy said, tears streaming. The little ones, they thought they were going to die. Minjun wrapped him in a hug, and Rahab saw him struggling to maintain composure. Everyone's safe. That's what matters. But everything's gone. The computers, the library, the kitchen. Where will we go now? I'll rebuild. Better than before. 2 weeks, I promise. The mother approached, bowing despite the informal situation. Mr. Kong, we're so grateful everyone got out. The fire alarm worked perfectly. Thank God. Minjun's voice was rough. Rahab watched him with the families, promising support, arranging temporary accommodations, assuring them the setback was just that. Temporary. This was the man she'd married. Not the crime boss, but the person underneath who genuinely cared. Jin-ho arrived, pulling Minjun aside. Rahab stayed with the families, helping organize immediate needs. Food, clothing, temporary housing. Her marketing skills translated surprisingly well to crisis management. When Minjun returned, his expression was murderous. It was deliberate, he said quietly as they walked back to his car. Accelerant in 3 locations. Professional job. And a message left at the scene. What kind of message? He pulled out his phone, showing her a photo. Words spray-painted on the one intact wall. Your queen burns everything she touches. Rahab felt sick. She's targeting innocent people because of me. She's targeting them because she's evil. Minjun's voice was controlled fury. This isn't on you, Rahab. This is on her. And it ends now. What are you going to do? What I should have done weeks ago. The next 3 days were tense. Minjun disappeared into meetings with his people. Strategy sessions Rahab wasn't invited to. She tried to maintain normalcy going to work, but it felt impossible to focus when children were traumatized because someone hated her. Yuki noticed immediately. What's wrong? You just got married. You should be glowing, not looking like someone died. Rahab couldn't explain. How did you tell your friend that your marriage had made you a target, that innocent people were suffering, that you'd married into a world where violence was currency? Just adjusting to married life, she lied. It's a big change. On the 4th day after the fire, Minjun finally came home early. He looked exhausted but satisfied. It's done, he said, pouring them both whiskey. What's done? Seo Yun. She's finished. Rahab's heart stopped. You said you wouldn't kill her. I didn't. He sank onto the couch, pulling her down beside him. But I destroyed her. Systematically. Professionally. He explained his strategy. It was brutal and brilliant. He'd used his connections to expose her family's illegal operations to the authorities. Simultaneously, he'd frozen her access to their shared business accounts. He'd called in favors from allies she'd thought were hers, revealing how she'd been manipulating them. In 72 hours, he'd dismantled her power base completely. She has nothing now, Minjun finished. No money, no connections, no protection. I've arranged for her to leave Korea, a one-way ticket to Taiwan with enough cash to start over. If she stays, if she ever comes near you or any of my people again, the consequences will be permanent. You bankrupted her. I neutered her. There's a difference. He took a long drink. In my world, Rahab, there are only two ways to end a threat: elimination or complete subjugation. I chose the option that lets her live but ensures she can never hurt anyone again. Rahab didn't know how to feel. Relief, horror, gratitude, and the community center? Already being rebuilt. I doubled the size, added better security systems. It'll be operational in 2 weeks, as promised. She studied his face. The exhaustion, the violence lurking beneath the surface, but also the gentleness when he looked at her. This is your world, she said softly. Retaliation and power plays and calculated destruction. Yes, I'm not sure I can live in it forever. I know. He set down his glass, taking her hands. Which is why I'm accelerating the transition. No more gray areas, no more 1 foot in each world. I'm going fully legitimate. It'll take time. A year, maybe 2, but I'm done with the darkness. Can you really just walk away? I have to. For you. For us. For any children we might have. He pulled her close. I've spent my whole life being what others needed me to be. My father's heir. The organization's boss. The monster people feared. But with you, I get to be just a man. I want more of that, Rahab. I want to wake up without wondering if today's the day someone tries to kill me. I want to take our kids to school without security teams. I want normal. Normal is overrated, she said, but she was smiling. Says the woman who married a mafia boss. They held each other as soul glittered outside the windows. 2 people trying to build something beautiful from broken foundations. Over the next few weeks, life settled into a new rhythm. The community center reopened to celebration. Bigger, better, with a dedication plaque thanking anonymous donors that fooled absolutely no one. Rahab got promoted at work, her success in the app launch earning her recognition. And slowly, carefully, Minjun began the process of legitimization, selling off illegal operations, investing in legal ventures, meeting with lawyers and accountants to untangle decades of shadow business. It wasn't easy. Some of his people resisted. Rivals tested his resolve. There were nights he came home exhausted, smelling of cigarette smoke and stress. But he kept his promise. Every decision pointed toward the light. One evening, 3 months after their wedding, Rahab made a discovery. She'd been feeling off for weeks. Exhausted, nauseated, emotional. She'd attributed it to stress. The pregnancy test proved otherwise. She stared at the 2 pink lines, mind racing. They talked about children eventually, but this was so soon. They were still figuring out their marriage, still navigating his transition out of crime. Was it responsible to bring a baby into this complicated world? But underneath the fear was something else, joy. Pure, unexpected, overwhelming joy. When Minjun came home that night, she was waiting with the test hidden behind her back. I have news, she said. He looked worried immediately. Good news or bad news? Depends on your perspective. She pulled out the test. We're having a baby. She watched emotions cascade across his face. Shock, fear, wonder, and finally, unmistakable happiness. He crossed to her in 3 strides, pulling her into his arms. We're having a baby, he repeated, voice thick with emotion. A child. Our child. Are you happy? I'm terrified, and thrilled, and grateful. He pulled back, hands shaking as he placed them gently on her still flat stomach. I promised to give this child everything I didn't have. Safety. Choice. We'll give them everything together. That night, they lay in bed talking about the future in concrete terms now. Names they liked. Nursery colors. Whether to raise the child bilingual or trilingual, adding Igbo to Korean and English. How to blend their cultural traditions in parenting. I want them to know both worlds, Rahab said. Nigeria and Korea. To be proud of both heritages. They will be. We'll make sure of it. As she drifted to sleep, Rahab felt something she hadn't felt in months. Peace. Yes, their life was complicated. Yes, dangers still lurked. But they were building something real, something worth fighting for. The dare that had started everything had led to this, not just wild passion but partnership. Not just excitement, but commitment. Not just a night, but a lifetime. She just had to trust it would be enough to weather whatever storms still waited ahead.
Hello besties, I just had to continue with the story, but I ain't feeling good. That's why I haven't visualized episode 2 so much, but I just want to finish it. Thank you so much for watching. Kindly stay tuned for episode 3.